So I don't know if you knew this, but we've talked before about albums that never happened. There was another album that never happened that is really disappointing because I think these two work really well together, especially King Chip. So I don't know if you knew this, but Kid Cudi and King Chip were supposed to do a duo album for a while. They're supposed to be a collaboration album between Kid Cudi and King Chip. They were supposed to get together and do one for a while, but it just never happened for some reason. That's another one of those albums that is disappointing. It never happened because they worked really well together. I don't know how much you heard of King Chip. I know you at least heard Kid Cudi. They worked really well together. They were both from Cleveland. They had some good songs together. They just had really good chemistry, and it would have been interesting to see what they would have made together. And much like Bad Meets Evil, it would have helped King Chip popularity-wise. I mean, he's definitely better than Royce da 5'9" musically, easily. I mean, King Chip actually has some, good solo music, and he isn't just like Royce, where his best stuff is with, another person. But you definitely get the best of him when he's with Kid Cudi. And I just don't know why we never got that album, because they worked together a lot, but the duo album just never happened, which is unfortunate because it would have been interesting.
Yeah, I've been hearing stuff about Kid Cudi lately. Like, he's kind of someone that's been on the drawing board as far as someone that I'm going to review eventually and stuff. Like, one project in particular is A Kid Called Cudi mixtape, something like that, the one with Day and Night on there. But it's also kind of interesting to see that he would have had a project out with King Chip. I do like when that sort of stuff happens. Really, I've noticed that there's not like a ton of information out there really about King Chip. He's kind of one of those folks like Garrett Ecstasy and Belay that just doesn't have an overabundance of information really about him. So I would like to cover some of that stuff, kind of cover some of Kid Cudi's field and see some of that. It's definitely a disappointment that their collaboration album never happened. I don't know. I mean, it just seemed like Kid Cudi was kind of in limbo for the longest time. Like, he dropped a bunch of projects from like 2008 to like 2013, and then he just took some time, and it seemed like it kind of slighted for some reason his popularity. I know he was affiliated with Kanye West and stuff for a while, but I just don't know what happened to kind of his musical works in like the mid 2010s that it seems like, he's not quite as fiery as he was like 10 and 12 years ago and such.
Yeah, it would definitely be interesting to see you review Kid Cudi on your channel eventually. He has a lot of good projects. I like Man on the Moon 1 and 2. I like Indie Cut. I like Satellite Flight. I like his Rap Hard mixtape, which is actually his like very, very first project. It sounded really different. And then I like the Kid Named Cudi mixtape. Speeding Bullet to Heaven, though, was his worst project. That's probably one of the worst albums I heard. He tried to go for like this sort of, grunge Nirvana, Kurt Cobain type thing, but he didn't pull it off. The execution was just not good, honestly. God, that album was horrible. That was basically his revival, in my opinion. Like, that album is just, But, yeah, he kind of did fall off hits-wise. Like, he was big for a minute, then he kind of just fizzled out. That's what seemed like happened to him. So that's true about him. But yeah, King Chip doesn't have a lot of information. He still does music and he's still around, but there definitely isn't a lot of information about him, much like those other artists you mentioned. But yeah, it's a real shame him and King Chip never did that project together, because they always teamed up a lot and they were both from the same area.